let me quickly bring on board Mr. Prasad Patwardhan, who is the CFO at ITD Cementation India, to talk to us, of course, about numbers, and the road forward, given the fact that there's going to be a new promoter coming in. So let me start off with that, Mr. Patwardhan. What's the sense? What changes for you with regard to the company, given that there's going to be a promoter change, 46% changing hands plus open offer?
Well, I believe the change is going to be for the good and for the better. We have a stronger and more reputed company coming in as our promoter. And the good part is the new promoter will have infrastructure as one of the focus areas of their business. So I think it will be a win-win situation for us where we'll have more visibility and more work coming our way. And the group will also benefit through, the expertise that we bring to the table in terms of engineering and construction of and execution of the projects.
Hi, Mr. Patwardhan, Anushi joining in. I want to understand from you from the near-term outlook with this kind of change happening for the company, the promoter change. What are you expecting for ITD Cementations? What should the investors look out for the road term ahead? Would there be any management changes as well if you are to go forward with this kind of acquisition happening by the Adani arm?
Well, it's too early to comment on how things will pan out going forward. Our focus continues to remain on execution of the projects on hand and bidding for new projects that come up. The good part is the Indian government is focusing on infrastructure development. So there's a lot of projects, especially in the sectors where we have the expertise, that are coming up for tendering, and our focus is going to be continue to be on execution of the projects and looking out for newer projects that we can bid for and execute.
Got it. So talk to us about execution. How is it all playing out? You had the Ganga Expressway project, which was completed by around 50 to 55% of it was completed at the end of Q1. Where do we stand on that count? We also had the Chennai Metro project and the Bangalore Metro as well. So how quickly are we completing some of these? What are the timelines looking like?
Well, all these projects are on schedule and the execution is going on at a pretty brisk pace. Q2 generally, because of the monsoons, it tends to be a bit slower than Q1, and we are going to witness the same in this Q2 as well. But overall, the execution is progressing very well, and most of the projects are on schedule, and the execution is going on as per our plan.
Right, Mr. Patwardhan, for FY25, you've seen about you've given a guidance of about 15 to 25% of revenue growth. Now, in the last 3 years, you've had a very strong growth trajectory, be it in your revenues as well as your margins have more or less remained stable in the 9 to 11% of range. So, going forward, in the next 2 to 3 years, what can one expect from ITD Cementations in terms of top line growth, the margin growth? What can be expected here?
Well, last year we grew at about 40+%. Of course, maintaining a 40+%, growth in the top line can be difficult. But given the focus on infrastructure development and with the new promoters coming into the company, we expect the pace of work to pick up, and we will continue to execute the projects that we have done in the past, and hopefully the growth rates will be better than what we have seen in the current year.
So with the new promoters coming into the picture of your segments, if you are to see, which of the segments do you think would get a greater push where you can see more orders, a stronger order pipeline because of the kind of management change which is happening?
Well, we are actually doing road projects, we are doing marine projects, we are doing hydroelectric power projects. So as I said, the focus is going to be on these sectors. We are doing building projects. So the focus is going to be on the areas where we have the expertise to execute the projects, and that is what will continue. Of course, there could be some new areas which may come up, but it's too early to talk about those right now.
And how's the order book evolving? You were at 18,000 crore in terms of order book size. You've done around 8,000 crore of execution last year. So execution, of course, on point. You're up 30% year on year in terms of your top line. But how is the order book shaping up? Are you planning to expand that as well, along with the kind of opportunities available?
Well, the order inflow in this year was a bit slow in the first quarter because of the elections and the results and all that. But subsequently, we have won orders worth about 3,800 crores in the current year. Our order book today, as of September, is about 18,000 plus crores. And after the end of the quarter in October, we have won another order worth about 1,700 crores. So there is a good visibility of new tenders, new orders coming up for bidding, and we are looking at that very closely, and we are hoping that the the order inflows in the year will go up significantly in the next 6 months.
You expect it's still below what you were projecting when I'm looking at it full year for H1. So do you expect H2 to be much stronger, meaningfully stronger? Because you had given a guidance of 12 to 15,000 crore, if I'm not wrong, in terms of order book or new order wins for this current financial year.
Well, you need to keep in mind that in H1, first 3 months were really very slow in terms of new order flows. We hardly received any orders in the first quarter. So obviously, we expect Q3 and Q4 to be much better than H1.
But how likely are you to hit that 12,000 crore in terms of new orders?
Well, there is a large pipeline of orders that we are looking at, and we are submitting our bids. The timelines can go a little bit here and there,
Sure.
but we are pretty confident that the order flow will continue in H2 as well.
Sure, sure.
Okay, so the commentary remains on the 12,000 order inflows that we should be looking out for. But on these new order inflows, what is the kind of margins that one can expect? Would it remain in the 10 to 11% of range, or we can see upside from these levels?
Well, there could be upsides on some projects, but we have seen our margin profile improving over the last 2 3 years. So we will, of course, endeavor to perform better, execute the projects faster, and improve on our margins. But I guess the margins, at least in the near future, would be in the range of 10 to 11%. Going forward, we need to see whether we can improve on the margins, and obviously our endeavor will be to do that. But for this year, I think we can expect around 10 to 11% EBITDA margins.
Okay, 10 to 11% EBITDA margins, a healthy order pipeline already, and expanding fast. Thank you so much, Mr. Patwardhan, for all of those insights with regard to ITD cementation, and wishing you all the very best. Of course, slew of changes. So wishing you all the very best for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.